I absolutely love when people ask me about High Point. Inevitably, I will hear someone say, "Oh yeah, that's a gorgeous university." And I so look forward to that moment because I can share with them. Yes, it's amazingly beautiful, but its beauty is so much more than aesthetics. And then I get to explain all that High Point represents to me. Some people wonder, so how did a high school sophomore become so certain of where she wants to go to college? One weekend in my sophomore year, after researching it for hours, I knew that High Point was a place calling to me. I could not wait to tell my mom all about it whenever she got back from her trip. And I remember my mom climbing into bed with me late that night, and I said, "Mom, I think I found my college." And after showing her everything I found online, she said, "Megan, I have to show you something." She had been away at a national conference that weekend, where she had to make a speech about volunteer engagement. She showed me her notes, and I couldn't believe her speech was called "Choose to be Extraordinary," and the conference theme was "The time is now." Well, we took that as a sign to make a road trip. So that following fall, my mom and I took off to our first High Point open house. Little did we know the experience would transform both of us. The High Point open house experience is honestly one of a kind. It's one of those things that anybody that experienced it knows what I mean. But I really think that's because High Point truly is one of a kind. That first visit to High Point honestly changed me. It made me want to be the best person I could be. And I was only there for 2 days. And most importantly, I think, because of that first trip to High Point, I began to give myself permission to dream big. I've lived my whole life having one dream. An impossible dream in the eyes of others, but it was my dream. When I was born, it was like this fate was cruelly stamped on my forehead. As a young girl, it was like being given a pen, but being told I couldn't write a novel like the other kids. But I was allowed to write a beautiful short story. And when everybody else talked about what they wanted to do whenever they grew up, I would think in my heart, I just want to grow up. My one simple dream, to have a future. And here I am, starting my future, a dream once thought impossible, but that science and a world of hope has made real for me. I remember at the end of my first High Point visit, my mom and I were so spellbound and on such a High Point high. Everybody else had gone home or gone to bed, but we just couldn't seem to leave the campus. It was, I remember, such a beautiful night. The stars were shining and the whole campus was lit up. And we could hear all the fountains flowing and all the beautiful music still playing. And we laid back on this hammock on the hill and just took it all in. No one was around, and it was like that whole moment was just for us. And that's the moment I gave myself permission to dream big. We just laid there for hours, swinging away, talking nonstop about all the things that I can do with my life, and all the things I wanted to be and become because of the ultimate gift that had been given to me, my future. After I got back from High Point, I made decisions differently in my life, like how I chose my classes for junior year, the honors classes that I took, the way I treated school. I saw my life differently. So how do you choose to be extraordinary? That was the question put to me at that first visit to High Point. My definition of being extraordinary is being more than I think I can be, with all things, big or small. Acting outside my comfort zone. And I found that that's always where the magic happens. And for a teenager, or for anyone really, that takes courage. And in my family, we have a saying that we go back to time and time again. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the realization that there is something at stake that is infinitely more important than that fear. I try to take action from that place of courage in all that I do. And it's how I remind myself on the sidelines, when I have the jitters to go up on stage and talk about CF, for instance. I try to live my life in big and small ways by this code. By the time I stepped on campus for the second time, the summer after my junior year, I was ready for High Point to meet me. And I literally challenged myself as I was walking from our car to hear President Cobain's speech at open house. Shake off that high school, show who you are. Push yourself past your comfort zone. Be extraordinary. Literally, just whenever I was having this conversation with myself, I saw the president walking across campus. And by this point, he was such an inspiration and so important to me, but he had no idea who I was. And I thought, here's my chance to push myself out of my comfort zone and do something crazy like go up and say hi. But first I thought, no way, and I couldn't get into the building fast enough. But less than a minute later, I walked right back outside and made a beeline to the president, with my hand out to shake his hand and a big smile. That was my little way of being extraordinary in that moment. I learned that every time I push myself out of that comfort zone, something magical always happens. Sure enough, a couple hours later, President Cobain came up to me and invited my mom, my dad, and I on a private tour. And we walked for hours and he talked about all his dreams for the new construction. And he asked for my input and feedback. I actually remember the last thing he said to me whenever we were saying goodbye. Megan, life is what you make it. Why not choose to make it extraordinary? His words just spoke to me because those words are the essence of High Point. And why do I believe so much in that heart of High Point? Why do I believe that words like extraordinary aren't just fluff marketing words? Well, I guess in the same way, I hope that you believe that those words are real for me too. It's a leap of faith for both of us. I actually have so many ideas of what extraordinary would look like for me as a student at High Point. But what about life after High Point? Well, actually, I have no idea, but that's what's so great about it. I do know one thing for sure. I would feel so proud to be called a member of the 2020 class of High Point University. But it's actually my ultimate goal for High Point to be just as proud to call me an alumni. So, here's the thing, and this is something I don't usually share with people, but the truth of the matter is, at the time I was born, being able to go to college and dream big was not a possibility. But more importantly, that reality has given me the perspective that every single day is a gift. And those words could not be more real for me. And I choose not to waste one moment of that gift. So, yes, I choose to be extraordinary. Never mind.
Just do it.
Mom, I think I found. Okay, off on. I sneeze. Hold on. Can you get that in slow motion? That's funny. Am I smiling now?
Yeah, I think
Are you sure?
Yeah.